Brain coral. Sure, this stuff looks very pretty, and its shape is reminiscent of the human brain, obviously. But the incessant porosity is what makes this material more abrasive than 50 grit sandpaper. If you ever ran your hands along coral in a gift shop, you know what I'm talking about. This is some random coral reef. Just imagine for a moment you're a surfer out on the ocean. Depending on your level of experience, you may be completely oblivious of the dangers this innocuous-looking coral reef poses to your health. In this particular sport, you'd more than likely not be wearing much in the way of body protection. So, if you were to suddenly get thrust into a patch of this jagged stuff, you wouldn't have a nice day, believe me. Leave it to seasoned surfers to name this gnarly damage coral cuts. So just how bad can these be? Brace yourself. Pro surfer Kiela Kennelly shows off her glorious coral cuts. Evidently, she caught the edge of a tube and face planted into a patch of coral during a competition, and well, this was the result. If you look closely, you will see she still has some coral embedded in her face. Took 51 stitches to close this wound up. But this mysterious material isn't coral. This jagged material can be found all along Pangandaran beach. So what kind of weird rock is it anyway? Well, to answer that burning question, we must defer to some geology once again. Oh no! Kill me now, right? Indonesia happens to be the world's largest archipelago. According to the CIA World Factbook, Indonesia comprises some 17,508 islands formed through massive amounts of volcanism. In fact, Indonesia has approximately 130 active volcanoes, making this the most active seismic region in the world. That's because this massive archipelago is part of a bigger system called the Pacific Ring of Fire. This vast geologically active system contains some 75% of the Earth's active and dormant volcanoes and stretches an astounding 40,000 kilometers or 25,000 miles. Oddly enough, this volcanic material is eerily similar to meteorites. That's because as meteors penetrate our atmosphere, they heat up and air gets injected into them, causing voids where bubbles once were. Contrary to popular belief, most of the material being ejected from your typical volcano is in the form of gases. Sure, there's plenty of solid ejecta called tephra, but in most cases, the material is very fine glass in the form of ash. Just like this deposit of ash that fell in Bali a few years back. And sometimes where ash meets snow, it forms a mud slurry as per 1980's Mount St. Helens eruption in Washington state. With gravity, this becomes a mudslide, or geologically speaking, a lahar. Lahars are incredibly dangerous phenomena, since these form instantly and descend rapidly, even being clocked at 80 miles per hour. Something impossible to outrun. Only in a small percentage of time does this tephra approach boulder size. These are reserved for the most violent of eruptions, where the magma explodes out the cone or through a ventricle side chamber. Such material is called scoria. Similar to pumice, only darker and far denser, scoria is a pyroclast characteristically irregular in form and generally very vesicular. And vesicular simply means igneous rocks that undergo the process of forming vesicles or cavities. One common form of scoria is basalt, a dark, fine-grained, igneous rock consisting mostly of plagioclase, feldspar, and pyroxene, and sometimes olivine, all which commonly litters the ocean floor as a type of lava. As one can readily discern, scoria comes in many shapes, colors, and sizes, all depending on its chemical makeup, with red scoria being the most popular. One major use for scoria is in the application of scoria-filled earth bags as an insulation material for buildings. Another would be as decorative filler in landscaping or non-combustible material in gas grills. This is me, albeit foolishly, posing precariously atop a pile of scoria which happens to form a natural alcove. Boy, if I slipped on this stuff, I'd be hurting for sure. This is a close-up of just how jagged this vesicular material truly is. Could you just imagine for a moment having some sort of freakish recreational accident and sliding across a chunk of this stuff? Ouch.